Now it's time to see who has the heart.
If you put your effort and concentration into playing to your potential, to be the best that you can be, I don't care what the scoreboard says at the end of the game, in my book, we're going to be winners.
This is your fight. Now go out there and take it.
Everybody grabbing out there. Nobody touching. Just grabbing, everybody. Grab. Nobody touching.
Welcome to the Best of Tailgate Talk, where we go back into the archives and hear some of our special guests you may have missed the first time around. We'll be back with the Best of Tailgate Talk after this. Come see all your friends at Applebee's in Athens. 12 minutes guaranteed or it's free Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. 7 items to choose from. Can't make it for lunch? Visit them for happy hour, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. or late night. Half-price appetizers with beverage purchase, 6 appetizers to choose from. Call 233-4430 or order online at Applebee's.com and pick your meal up with Carside to Go. Applebee's Neighborhood Grill, Highway 72 in Athens, just off I-65. Eating good in the neighborhood. When things go wrong, State Farm is here to help life go right. And Agent Michael Howell is the one who can help get things back on track. See Michael for your auto, home, life, health, property, and business insurance, and be ready for those unexpected twists that life throws at you. Ask about banking and annuities, too. Call State Farm Agent Michael Howell at 232-5400. Visit him online at michaelhowell.net or go see him at 903 South Clinton Street in Athens. State Farm Agent Michael Howell. There when things go wrong, here to help life go right.
From day one, First National Bank has been built on a strong foundation of community first. First to lend a helping hand, first to help with community events and fundraisers, first to support local students, athletic programs, and civic organizations, first to support events like United Way, Relay for Life, and many more charitable events, and most importantly, working for our great community. Without you, there'd be no First National Bank. Making communities great together, that's what we strive for.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC. PASnetwork.net. It's now your gateway to the Play Action Sports Network. Whether it's Play Action sports coverage of school, youth, and amateur sports from Athens and Limestone County, or Calhoun basketball, James Clemens Sports, and Applebee's Tailgate Talk via PAS Plus. PASnetwork.net. Follow the links to download apps to hear live streams and podcasts, enable Alexa skills, or listen live on your computer. Covering Athens and Limestone County area sports, PASnetwork.net. Welcome to the Best of Tailgate Talk, last show of 2024, and this week we feature a couple of guests that had books coming out at the time we spoke with them, but they also had more interesting tidbits to throw out. First up is former New York Yankees designated hitter Ron Blomberg, and with all the hype surrounding the upcoming Superman movie, we follow with Jack O Halloran, who is probably most well known for his role as Non, the non-speaking member of the trio of Kryptonian villains in the first 2 Christopher Reeve versions. He was invited to the show primarily because of his early boxing days, but he sweetened the deal with stories from his acting career and his own book that dealt with his relationship with his father, a former boss of the Gambino crime family. Former Alabama and NFL linebacker E.J. Jr. comes next, before we wrap it up with a visit from former Auburn and NFL fullback Kevin McLeod. Like we mentioned last week, our Athlete of the Week, Ann Howell with the Havoc winners, will return next Saturday, our first live show of 2025. Stay with us. We'll be back with more of the Best of Tailgate Talk. P4 Therapy is an outpatient provider offering community-based care with a unique partnership model that allows them to consistently deliver world-class outpatient care, emphasizing personalized hands-on treatment. Whether it's orthopedic, physical, geriatric, or manual therapy, sports or neuro rehab, telehealth, or most any type of muscle or joint pain, P4 Physical Therapy promises to treat you with integrity, compassion, faithfulness, and selflessness. Locations in northern Alabama and southern Tennessee. Look for them on Facebook or online at p4physicaltherapy.com. Daly & Son Car Care is Ardmore's only one-stop auto repair and tire shop. Whether it's major mechanic or brake work or routine maintenance like an oil change or lube job, Daly & Son Car Care has been satisfying customers all over with their fast and friendly service. They're also your headquarters for quality Cooper tires. Stop by and see Wayne, Nikki, or Dale at 25600 Main Street in Ardmore, Tennessee, or call them at 931-427-4651. They're on Facebook, too. Daly & Son Car Care, open Monday through Friday, 7:30 till 5, and Saturday, 7:30 till noon.
Home security is not what it used to be. With Secure Connect and smart home integration features, you can unlock your doors and turn off your alarm from your smart home app. No more hiding a key under a rock. Get Secure Connect and live life connected. Call Ardmore Telephone Company at 800-830-9946 to secure your home today.
While others have come and gone, the Lions Den Gym has been roaring as a workout and exercise fixture in Athens, growing from its humble basement beginnings in 1981 to their current 10,000 square foot location at 212 Commercial Drive in Athens. The Lions Den offers 24/7 access to their ever-expanding equipment collection that includes treadmills and climbers, elliptical trainers, stationary bikes, loose weights and dumbbells, and over 45 different weight machines. Contact the Lions Den Gym about a membership today at 256-652-2627. Visit them online at lionsdengym.com or on Facebook, the Lions Den Gym, 256-652-2627. Now that you've got that new place on the water, BP Riverworks can finish the picture with a boathouse, dock, or seawall. Call Barron Pugh at 251-200-2273 or Tracer Pugh at 256-206-7097. BP Riverworks. Licensed and insured, 251-200-2273 or 256-206-7097. Now on a platform near you, the only year-round weekly podcast covering the Huntsville Havoc, the Wreakin' Havoc Podcast. News, interviews, and more. Dropping every Thursday, we'll just reek of the Huntsville Havoc. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and listen, follow, and subscribe on your favorite platform via the PAS Plus app and online at wreakinhavoc.com. Welcome back to the best of Tailgate Talk on 1080 WKAC.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got our special guest on right now, former first baseman for the Yankees and the White Sox, not the other, and the first designated hitter. He's got a new book coming out called The Captain and Me. Give a warm Applebee's Tailgate Talk welcome to Ron Blomberg. Ron, I can't wait to talk to you, buddy.
Hey, big guy, it's wonderful to talk to you. And, first thing, I love your southern accent like mine. Where are you located?
We're in North Alabama, just south of the Tennessee state line, central, right in the middle of the state, little town called Athens, Alabama.
Yeah, we're in the Huntsville area.
No, I know y'all. Hey, I'm from Atlanta, so
Okay.
Yeah, you know that area.
Well,
yeah,
I'm
a hillbilly from Atlanta, so I know everything about you. And
I appreciate you calling me, big guys. I know that I started on my book with my roommate for 5 years, Thurman Munson. It's called The Captain and Me, and it has not even gone out yet. It actually will go out to the public on April the 20th. But right now we are ranked number 10th in baseball books and on pre-sales. So I'm really excited about it. It's something where I'm a Georgia boy. I know I'm pretty close to where y'all are, and the book is it's a great book. It's a great read. It's not a typical baseball book, and what my stats and stuff. It's about a good two guys that are very, very close. I don't know if you ever seen the movie Bang the Drum Slowly. It's exactly like Bang the Drum Slowly, where it's a love story and also it's a baseball book. So I'm really, really excited about it.
It's a good thing your name's not Tennille.
I'm looking forward to reading it.
Yeah.
My dad was a big Yankee fan, and me growing up in the early 70s, and those World Series games with the Dodgers. Man,
oh man,
that was made for TV right there.
Oh, absolutely. My daughter graduated. I don't know if you're an Alabama fan or Auburn fan, but my daughter graduated from Roll Tide Roll.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Of course you did.
No, she Roll Tide Roll.
Yeah.
So I know I'm ready for baseball season starting, but I'm ready for the football season actually to start. But anyway, it's really exciting. I was very lucky in my life to play with the Yankees, and I was the number 1 draft pick in 1967 by the Yankees, and I got to do something what I wanted to do, which put the Yankee pinstripes on, and got to play with guys like Mickey Mantle and Catfish Hunter and Chris Chambliss and Mickey Rivers and the Oscar Gamble, who is from Montgomery, who was from Montgomery, but unfortunately passed away. Mm-hmm. But I was very, very lucky to be able to play up in front of all the New York fans and to play on some great teams. Ryan, and that's what basically, yes.
Did you get to play with Bucky freaking Dent?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Bucky was my teammate for almost about 2 years. And I know the people up in Boston hated him.
They hated
Bucky, they hated him. But, Bucky's a real good friend of mine. He lives down in Florida now. And during the season, unfortunately, with the virus that we had, we could not travel for the last last year we couldn't travel. And I don't know how much traveling we're going to be doing this year, but I would see Bucky probably once every couple of weeks doing engagements for the Yankee Steinbrenners.
Awesome.
Up in New York. But I'm friends with all these guys. They're my brothers. Yes. So I was very, very lucky in my life to have great brothers like these people. And that's what made me start thinking about my book, about writing about Thurman. This book it's really not because I'm talking to you. The book is unbelievable. And everybody that has read the book, that has got devices from my from our publishing company up out of Chicago, love the book, and I'm so excited about it. I think it's going to be a bestseller in the New York Times. That's what they project. So I'm really, really excited about people reading it. It's not just like I said before, it's just not a baseball book. It's you're going to laugh, you're going to cry, and it's really, really a great read.
Well, I plan on pre-ordering it. I can't do it from a cell phone, but
me too.
Yeah, it's going to be a good read.
Ron, what was it like playing with Reggie?
What do you think? It's like Reggie is a different character. He's a different breed. He's a like a guy that he's like it, and you just don't know what he's going to bring that day. He's up and down like a roller coaster. But Reggie was, people always would always talk bad about Reggie. Reggie was a good athlete, and Reggie was a athlete that he did everything timed. Whenever you needed a home run, he would hit a home run. But he started, he's a very controversial type of guy. But he was a great guy. He was a great teammate. But like I said before, you just don't know what you're going to get from each day. So the good part about him, every other week we would have a Reggie Jackson fist fight in the clubhouse. So that was fun. So, but it's funny. I just spoke to Reggie about a week ago, and he was going to get on my show, my Facebook show. But unfortunately, his schedule was very, very tight, and we're going to put him on it, I think, in the next couple of weeks.
Now, Ron, how sad was it when the old stadium went down?
That was my house. That was my home. And that was like, if you had to tear down Bear Bryant Stadium.
Yeah.
That was the stadium. That was Yankee Stadium. Everybody knows about Yankee Stadium. Every person that tourists will go to New York, first thing they want to do is they want to see Yankee Stadium. And that was a house that Ruth built.
It was.
And I got to play in that. And then they redid the stadium. It's the same stadium, but they redid that. and we played up in Shea Stadium for a couple of years, and that was a hellhole. That wasn't a good place to play, So then of course the new stadium, of course, is that's a house that Jeter built.
Yeah.
And that house, I don't know if you ever have gone up to New York and seen the stadium. You got to go up there because it's like a museum. It's gorgeous. It's really a beautiful stadium. And y'all probably been to Atlanta Stadium, the new ballpark, but it's nothing. Yeah, but it's nothing like the new Yankee Stadium is just like it's a museum. I mean, but it's different the way that I played, because when I played, it was the old Yankees play there. Lou Gehrig, Babe Ruth, Whitey Ford, Yogi Berra, and all those guys. So it's really, really different.
So Ron, you were the first designated hitter. How did they approach you with that? Say, okay, Ron, listen, we're going to try something new for you here, man. We want you.
No, I screwed up the game in '73. And
no, I'm not blaming on you.
I really screwed it up. I really messed up the game of baseball. If you look at it, 50% of the people love it, 50% of the people hate it. They had it last year because it was a very shortened season. Both leagues had it. It was very universal. Now what they are doing is not letting the National League, I don't think, have it this year for whatever reason. And basically how it started was in '73. They created the rules in '72. I was down in spring training down in Fort Lauderdale. I pulled a hamstring, and about four games before we were supposed to break camp to go up to Boston. And I knew that if I was going to go on the disabled list, I don't want to be like, I don't know if you know about the Lou Gehrig and the Wally Pipp, when Wally Pipp was the first baseman with the Yankees, and he went down and Lou Gehrig took his position.
Yep.
And he never got his position back.
No.
So I wanted to make sure that wasn't the I wasn't going to be in that type of situation. So I went up to Boston. They taped me like a mummy. And I played up in Boston, and I walked with the bases loaded. I became the first DH in Major League history. And look, it's 48 years later. 48 years later, they can't come to a solution to have a universal DH. Now they come in with different crazy rules in the game of baseball now, where extra innings. They're going to have like a runner at second base. Now they're talking about robotics, having a robotic umpires, and I mean it's crazy. I mean the game of athletics has totally changed. If you look at football, you can't hit the quarterback. If you come close to them, they're going to throw you out. If you hit somebody too hard, they're going to flag you. I mean, the game of athletics, unfortunately, it became like a business. These guys are making moogle bucks, and they don't want these guys to get injured. But the funny part about it, it's not funny, but they have more injuries now than what we had when we played.
You're right.
So when we're making like $15,000 a year, and these guys are making $7 to $10 million. And the average salary on the Yankees team with all these guys, if you equal them out, is almost about $16 million. And I remember in '73 when I played with the Yankees, they gave me a $500 raise, hitting $329. And then the next year I hit $311. They took my $500 back. And the next year I hit $301. They didn't even talk about raise to me. Nowadays, if you hit a $140, they're going to give you $1 billion raise. So I was at the wrong place at the wrong time, but I don't care. My team, we had the greatest organization in the world, and we had the greatest players in the world. And the guys that are still living, we're very, very close to.
We'll be back with more of our Tailgate Talk conversation after this.
Limestone Drug, located on the square in downtown Athens, is your local Health Mart pharmacy. As your local Health Mart pharmacy, Limestone Drug is locally owned and has a personal commitment to the community. Limestone Drug honors prescription drug plans, including Medicare. They accept flex spending cards and fill prescriptions in minutes, not hours. Limestone Drug knows there's nothing more important than your family's well-being. So shop Limestone Drug at 200 West Market Street in Athens, your local Health Mart pharmacy. Limestone Drug, caring for you and about you.
Your roof is the first line of defense for your home. Do you have water stains on your ceiling, paint peeling off your walls, shingles missing? It's probably time for you to get your free roof inspection. Locally owned and operated, licensed, and insured, Yellowhammer Roofing is the Yellowhammer State hometown team. Yellowhammer Roofing. Let our family protect what's most important to you, your family. 256-232-1933 or online at yellowhammerroofing.com.
For screen printing, sign printing, banners, logo design, and more, look no further than That Shirt Printing Place. Located at 709 North Jefferson Street in Athens. Call 256-444-1827. That Shirt Printing Place. Visit them online at thatshirtprintingplacellc.com. Look for them on Facebook too. That Shirt Printing Place. 256-444-1927. That Shirt Printing Place. Bring a little caffeination inspiration to your next event with Travelin' Tom's Coffee of Athens. Turn up the heat in these cooler months with their signature products, including a full coffee menu, white chocolate mocha, lattes, frappes, energy drinks, lemonades, and teas. Travelin' Tom serves events of any size, concerts, neighborhood block parties, high school football games, you name it. Travelin' Tom's Coffee of Athens is sure to make any event a little sweeter. Visit Travelin' Tom's Coffee of Athens on Facebook or call them at 434-1734. Travelin' Tom's Coffee of Athens.
Are you getting the propane service you deserve? At Ferguson LP Gas in Ardmore, you always get the most value for your dollar, professional gas personnel who make safety a high priority, and you can always get in touch with them any day of the year at any time. They accept Visa and MasterCard too. So if you're not happy with your present propane supplier, join the many who have made the switch. Give Ferguson LP Gas in Ardmore a call at 256-423-3320.
He's got a push. Back up three. And he got it! Three-pointer at the buzzer to win it! Unbelievable!
Join Play Action Sports for another season of Calhoun basketball. You can hear live action from men's and women's teams streamed on the PAS Plus app on your Alexa device by saying Open PAS Plus or online at pasplus.net. Check out the online archives on the website or on your favorite podcast platform too. And listen for select games on Sundays at noon on WKAC Radio. Calhoun basketball from PAS Plus.
We're back now with more of our conversation on the best of Tailgate Talk.
Trivia question. Last night, the Braves and the Twins were playing an exhibition game. And they were talking about the DH. You know who the last Minnesota Twins pitcher was to hit a home run?
I have no idea.
Jim Cott.
Who?
Jim Cott.
Oh, really? Jim did?
Yeah, sure was.
He was a great athlete.
Well, he could throw that ball.
Oh, and you know what? I mean, hey, it's really, really crazy. I mean, they talk about it, and it's terrible what they need to have it. Last year was the first year that they had a guy to go in, Edgar Martinez, to go in as the in the Hall of Fame. David Ortiz from Boston will probably be the next DH to go into the Hall of Fame. But, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, people don't realize it. It's the highest paid, one of the highest paid position in the game of baseball now.
And look what it did for Marcell Ozuna last year for the Braves.
Oh, yeah, it helped his contract negotiation pretty good. Coming out, he was just making $4 million a year. Now I think he just got a 4-year, like, $50 million contract.
Yeah.
I mean, what y'all need to do is after you speak to me, you need to take a lot of BP, a lot of batting practice.
I can still hit.
You need to get on the cage, and you need to start becoming a free agent. And hey, if you could survive, if you could breathe, you'll sign for $1 million, big guy. So I mean, it is what it is now. I mean, hey, if you could breathe now, they'll pay you a lot of money.
I got to take batting practice last year in our new minor league ballpark. It's kind of thing you pay for, and I can still hit. I'm 55. Just don't ask me to run or throw, but I can still hit the ball.
Yeah, I'm 72 years old, and next year I play up in Old Commerce Day up in New York. I'm going to give one of those hover rounds, and I'm going to get one of those.
Get your hover round. There you go.
Yeah, hey, I'm not stupid. I'll be on every paper in the world. They're going to see me. I'm going to hit, and then I will get on my seat, and my insurance will cover it. I think the insurance covers everything with the hover round. So what I'm going to do is hit the ball. I'm going to get on my hover round, and I'm going to start wheeling it down, taking wheelies down to first base. You don't think the people in New York will go crazy? They'll like that.
Yes, sir.
The people in New York will love that. So that's what I'm going to do. That's what I decided I'm going to do. My next time, I'm going to take my hover round, put it right next to me, hit the ball, and then I'm going to get on it and go down to first.
There you go.
You go to the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No. Somebody will push me off, and I could never get back on.
Well, how did you make it to the White Sox?
Well, I became a free agent in 70. After my year, after we won the World Series in 77, I became a free agent, went up to Chicago, and I played up there. Unfortunately, I was injured quite a bit. And I had 2 knees and 2 shoulder operations. I had 2 rotators. And at that particular time, the modern technology with medical was not the best in the world, to be honest with you. So basically, I was injured, even when I went up to Chicago. But I gave it all I had, and I went up there, did not have too good. I didn't have a good season. I couldn't play anymore. It's just like, you put Bo Jackson out there, you put Johnny Musso. For Alabama, you get Najee Davenport. I mean, if he's injured, it's only so long that he's going to be able to play. And that was what I was. And unfortunately, my career ended shortly afterwards, and I blew out. So when you become injured in professional athletics, it's very difficult to really come back.
And Ron, in New York, when did they start? When did the bleacher bums start doing the roster call? When did that start happening?
That was great. It was after me. I mean, when I played, if they start yelling your name, you better run underneath the shelter. If they start calling your name up in New York, you better run under a shelter.
Okay, Jay.
But these guys are,
Tom don't know what we're talking about, Bob. Tell him how it goes. What happens?
They right field, and whoever starts that game, they do the roll calls, and whenever they call your name out, you tip your hat or you give a salute, and it's great. It's really. Going to a game. Let me tell you something. Going to a game in Yankee Stadium would be your greatest thrill, in athletics. It's really, when you go to Yankee Stadium, it's like going to, a national championship in Alabama, and you have all those people, and you have all the, it's incredible. But the New York fans are guys that they know sports. They love sports. They love the Giants. They love the Jets. The Mets or the Yankees. But the number one team up there are the Yankees.
Yeah.
And when you play up at Yankee Stadium, and when you get to dress in the locker rooms, and then you go and look at Yankee Stadium, it's nothing like it. Believe me. And I've been to every football stadium. I've been to every baseball stadium, but nothing like Yankee Stadium.
Ron, I was at a little place down in Juno Beach, Florida, called the Thirsty Turtle back in around 2004. Giambi played with the Athletics, and the Yankees and the Athletics were playing in a divisional playoff game. And the owner just opened it up and hosted everything. So we were in there in this big sports bar watching this game, and it was full of Yankees fans. Of Yankees fans. It was the darndest thing I've ever heard in my life. It was screaming, loud, F-bombs dropping all over the place. Yeah, bum! Yeah, stinking bum! And then when they tagged Giambi out there as he was crossing the plate, I mean, all he had to do was slide, and he was safe. And he just kind of lumbered across, and then the place went wild. It was an experience, Ron. So, yes.
No, let me tell you. Hey,
fans,
New York fans, hey, you're an Alabama fan, and, you got tons of Auburn fans also, but it's nothing like when you go up to New York, you're dealing with, 8 million people, 20 million people. And when you talk about Yankees, hey, you go down to Birmingham, or you go to Tuscaloosa, or you go to Auburn. Majority of the people, if they're not wearing an Auburn, Alabama hat or Alabama, they're wearing a Yankee cap. And that's what it is. It is what it is. And they got the biggest brand in athletics. You just like the Cowboys. Everybody talks about the Cowboys. They got the Dallas Cowboys hat. Hey, if you go overseas, everybody wearing Yankee caps. And they got the biggest brand in the athletics. And it's fun. I was very lucky to play on the greatest organization, the greatest teams, and to put on the greatest uniform in the world, the New York Yankees.
And we got a guy who played here locally at Calhoun, Jorge Posada, played for the Yankees.
Who was this?
Jorge Posada. He played at Calhoun Community College in baseball, and then he did? Yeah, here in Decatur.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about Posada. He's gold up in New York. They love him up there. But he was up on you take this Dave Avery, the Maddox, and the Smoltz and the Glavine. Now up in New York, you're talking about the David Wells and the Mike Messinas and the CC's and people like that. Posada was they loved him. Yeah. He was gold up there. Here's a guy that went to junior college, and he became very, very close with Jeter. They're very, very close friends. And, they made a fortune. And, if you look at Posada's bank account, I guarantee it's close to $100 million in it. So, he did pretty good. He did pretty good.
My sister's best friend hates it to this day that she didn't go out on that date with him.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of girls in Alabama. They didn't want to go out with him. Now, he would have anything and everything what he wanted.
Well, now, we're all Braves fans, right?
No.
You're not? Okay. Well, okay. We've got one. Okay. Yeah. 3 of us are Braves fans. By the way, 3 of us are Alabama fans. 1 is an Auburn fan here. But
where?
Me, buddy.
But anyway, you could
go take the bird home. The bird was I'll make sure that you go to Auburn. The bird will fly on you. You could take him home.
Hey, that's a big old bird.
The eagle.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead. Finish. What
Speaking of the Braves, though, you played with a guy that we're all familiar with, Bobby Cox.
Oh yeah, Bobby was. I don't know if you ever had an opportunity to meet Bobby. But Bobby was a gem. He was my roommate in Syracuse, New York. I was coming up. I was like 19 years old in AAA, and he was down in AAA with the Yankees. He came over from the Atlanta Braves, and he became my roommate there. And then he went up to New York for like a year or 2 to play up in New York. And look what he did up in Atlanta. The people loved him. He had a stroke, and he's been struggling for the last a couple of years. And he was probably one of the nicest human beings I've ever met. And he was he was great to everybody. Just not to his players, but to the fans. And he was gold in Atlanta, and he's like Nick Saban, and but he's probably more well-liked across the state than Nick is. Bobby is well-liked anywhere and everywhere Bobby goes. People love him.
That's right. Ron, it's been such a great time talking to you, but it's time for us to take a break. Ladies and gentlemen, go and pre-order The Captain and Me by Ron Blomberg. It's going to be a great read. I'm getting mine. Jay's getting his. Yeah. So let's
teach me how to read, and I get mine.
You teach her to read. Hey, one more thing.
Yes, sir.
My English teacher will roll over in her grave to know that I've written a book because I've really passed English. That's number one. But let me give you, if people want to pre-order, let me tell you where to pre-order. You go to Amazon, the pre-order, or what you can do is go on my website. It's very simple. It's Ron Blomberg. Bloomberg is 1-0. 1-0 is BLOMBERG. RonBloomberg.com. And you could go and you could get a book. I'll sign it for you. And it's believe me, it's a great book. A great book. It's great talking with y'all, big guys.
Hey, I sent you a friend request, Ron, so don't turn me down, brother. I'm
never going to turn you down. I'm never going to turn you down.
Roll Tide.
Hey, send me some squirrel stew. I would love it.
Dude, don't tempt me. I'll have you plenty. Thanks, Ron. Great talking to you, buddy.
Stay safe.
Great talking with y'all, big guys. Enjoy yourself. Thanks, big guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That was awesome.
That was awesome, man. The things we get to do here. I'm telling you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
P4 Physical Therapy is a new outpatient provider offering community-based care with a unique partnership model that allows them to consistently deliver world-class outpatient care, emphasizing personalized hands-on treatment. Whether it's orthopedic, physical, geriatric, or manual therapy, sports or neuro rehab, telehealth, or most any type of muscle or joint pain, P4 Physical Therapy promises to treat you with integrity, compassion, faithfulness, and selflessness. Locations in Athens, Huntsville, and Winfield, Alabama, as well as Fayetteville and Knoxville, Tennessee. Look for them on Facebook or online at p4physicaltherapy.com. When things go wrong, State Farm is here to help life go right. And Agent Michael Howell is the one who can help get things back on track. See Michael for your auto, home, life, health, property, and business insurance, and be ready for those unexpected twists that life throws at you. Ask about banking and annuities, too. Call State Farm Agent Michael Howell at 232-5400. Visit him online at michaelhowell.net or go see him at 903 South Clinton Street in Athens. State Farm Agent Michael Howell. There when things go wrong, here to help life go right. Come see all your friends at Applebee's in Athens. 12 minutes guaranteed or it's free Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. 7 items to choose from. Can't make it for lunch? Visit them for happy hour, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. or late night. Half-price appetizers with beverage purchase, 6 appetizers to choose from. Call 233-4430 or order online at applebees.com and pick your meal up with Carside to go. Applebee's Neighborhood Grill, Highway 72 in Athens, just off I-65. Eating good in the neighborhood. Keep up with local school, travel, youth, and amateur sports throughout the week with a Play Action Sports Update. Listen weekday mornings at 7:30 and weekday afternoons at 1:30 and 3:30 as we bring you the latest scores, news, and announcements from Limestone County and surrounding communities. That's the Play Action Sports Update 3 times a day, Monday through Friday on 1080 WKAC. You're listening to the best of Tailgate Talk on 1080 WKAC.
We have a special treat, ladies and gentlemen, because I remember watching this movie as a young chap. The Superman movies had 3 villains. This guy right here, he was the one in the middle, looked like the enforcer of the group, played the character Non. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Jack O Halloran to the program. Welcome, Jack.
Hey, how you doing down there?
Man, we doing good. I'm excited. I remember watching this movie as a kid and end up in high school playing the theme in concert band. So yeah, this has always been one of my favorite movies.
And I'm going to tell you, when I got Jack on the phone,
yes,
I really didn't know what to expect because you didn't have a whole lot of lines in those Superman movies.
I know, right?
I kind of like that though. It was when we discussed doing the role, Non was a scientist, a brilliant scientist that they lobotomized as a punishment. And when they discussed the role with me, Richard Donner and I, and they talked about playing this character as a mute, I embraced it because Jackie Gleason was a friend of mine who did a picture called Gigo that he won an Oscar for, playing a deaf dumb mute.
Really?
And I said, if I ever got a chance to take a character that I could do with facial and body expressions, I would embrace doing that. And here we had, General Zod was a vicious general, and Ursa was a man-eater.
That's her name, Ursa,
so somebody had to relate to the children, So I took this character, this huge, brutish guy, and played him as a child, learning how to use his eyes and learning how to do things. And it seemed to work very well.
Well, I was wondering if it was originally meant to be a non-speaking role, but I guess it was then.
Yeah.
And I never did know about the lobotomy part of the equation there. That's a new one on me.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I just knew he was, as Marlon Brando said, a mindless aberration.
Hey, talk about your boxing career. When did you start boxing? I mean, according to your wiki file here, you're 6'6". You're a big old boy, as they say down here.
Well, I originally was playing football, and I was in an era back in the '60s when you went from college to professional. You couldn't play professional until your class graduated from college, which is a rule I wish they still had intact, because I think there'd be a lot less injuries.
Yeah,
people would mature and grow better, And it was in the era when Joe Namath was coming from Alabama, and he was a Pennsylvania boy, but he played some pretty good ball down there in Alabama.
A bit.
And he was going up to the Jets, and I was in Western Kentucky, and I left after my freshman year because I got bored with school. Actually, I just wanted to play ball, and we played a pretty good conference down there. But the Jets picked me up right away, and we played on there was a semi-pro league, like a farm team on the East Coast, that a lot of ball players that had left college and were headed for the pros, but had to wait until their class graduated. So we played in this league on the East Coast. We used to play like 2 games a week just to keep our levels up, And I was 6'6", and I weighed 280, and I ran a 4.640.
Good grief.
So I was pretty good. I could move around pretty well, And I was, so I went up when it came time to play, I was going to go to the Jets and play. And Philadelphia had a lot of friends of mine that were playing down there, Sonny Jurgensen and Tommy McDonald and a few other boys. And so I said to Eubank, I want to go down and give Philadelphia a try. And he said, yeah. He said, but you always have a home here. And so I went down to Philly, and then the team was bought by a young boy, Jerry Wallman, and he brought a coach in, Joe Kuharich, who was unbelievable. He traded a championship football team away in 3 months.
Oh, wow.
Jurgensen was traded, and McDonald was traded, and so I come out of a meeting one day with Timmy Brown, who was a pretty good running back, and Kuharich walked right past us like we were, statues in a hallway. And I said, you don't talk to ball players when you walk by or say hello or anything? He grumbled something. I said, listen, while you're out, trade me. And Ali had just won the title in boxing, and I knew some people in Philadelphia, and I said, I can beat that guy. What a good idea. They put me in a gym, and my boxing career ensued, but I couldn't box amateur because I was considered a professional, and in those days you couldn't do both. Today you can get away with that, but right. you couldn't back in the 60s. So I went in the gym and I trained, and I came down in weight to about 235, somewhere around, and 230, and I embarked on a professional boxing career. And I was like 16-0, and I went to do a physical one day, and the doctor said to me, you know, you have a problem. I said, what do you mean I have a problem? He said, you have a tumor, and it's called acromegaly. I said, so? He said, well, it's not how you get physically or mentally up to box, because acromegaly, your body puts out 10% growth hormone. Mine was putting out like 150.
Oh, wow.
So it depletes your body. You know, Andre the Giant had the disease, and a few other
yes, sir.
notable athletes had it. And he said, you got to get it taken care of or it's going to kill you. And I said, yeah, right. Can I fight or not? So I just went on about my business. But it affected me. You know, if I had done what they said, it probably would have been a bit different. But I had a day job. It was in an era when you needed a day job for what I did at night. My father was a very famous Italian out of Italy, and he ran a little company called Murder Incorporated. He was.
We were going to get to that part because you put it in your book. So yeah, go ahead.
He had his own family called Anastasia, the Anastasia family, which turned into the Gambino family. And it was the Anastasia family. Gambino was an underboss to my father, and my father controlled all the waterfronts and the docks and stuff, and he really wasn't into the drug business. In fact, in The Godfather, when they approached Brando and he said, if we touch it, our children will touch it, it'll be the downfall of the families. Well, my father said that.
Really?
Wow.
He said, you know, this is not the business we want to be in. And Frank Costello was of the same mind. And Costello had the political book, and he said, you know, if we get involved in this business, we're going to lose our political contacts. And they, you know, too many people other ethnic groups were involved in drugs, the Orientals and then the South Americans, and you know, so they didn't want to give that money up, and it was all about greed. And so they assassinated my father in '57, and they tried to kill Frank Costello, and they missed, but he caused them to just sit down and retire, you know, and Genovese was for the drugs, and other people were for the drugs, and then they started killing each other over them, and they have been ever since.
Right.
So what my father said was very true. It would be the downfall of the families because of the discontent and the greed and everything else. So, you know, it's
how much. You know, I've seen The Sopranos and Goodfellas and the Godfather movies and all that. As far as you knowing what your father did, I mean, how aware were you of what he did, or did you just kind of have suspicions or find out after the fact, or what?
Well, he had put a minder around me when I was younger, and my father was in 1943, 42, when they were looking for Albert everywhere, and you know that. He was in the Army as a master sergeant teaching soldiers how to be longshoremen down in Indian Gap, Pennsylvania. So he spent every night in Philadelphia, and he hooked up my mother. My stepfather was an aviator, and he was in the Army Air Force, and he was overseas. And my mother was a singer, and she made Jane Russell look like a boy. So her and Albert got into a love affair, and I was the product of it.
Gotcha.
That's how I came about. So then my father put a man next to me who was an Irish guy who ran the IRA on the waterfront, and he was also a top engineer for General Electric, and very, very bright man from Ireland, Rip Collins, whose brother was a big guy in the IRA Army, and so he looked after me pretty much, and you know, taught me a lot of things when I was younger. And then when my father was assassinated, when I was 14 years old, I came under the link of Meyer Lansky and Frank Costello and a few other people. And they educated me into that world. And, I got involved. But when you got involved in that stuff, if you were smart, you had a day job to keep the law and order away from you,
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. And, it's nothing more like you good old boys down there with moonshine and stuff,
Yeah, for sure.
And some of the activities of, I knew quite a few people in Alabama, actually, in the old days.
Wow.
That's funny.
You
said that about. That's funny. You said that about being smart and having a day job, because in the movies nobody has a day job. That's all they do. They run numbers, or
Well, a lot of that's where the bull comes in. In other words, you get if you play that game like that, then you wind up like John Gotti, a guy who's $900 million, and he went to jail because he wanted to be the Dapper Don and all that jazz.
Right.
The old timers, the real old timers lived in their neighborhoods. They took care of their neighborhoods. They had different companies they owned, and they had stores, and they had day jobs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like the Jinko Olive Oil Company.
They had olive oil companies. My father had a lot of companies. He owned dress manufacturers. He owned a lot of things. Day jobs, and Albert never. I think he only went to jail. When he came to America back in 1919, and he was on the waterfront, and there was people down there that were trying to control this and control that. And he got into an argument with a guy one day, and they killed him, and they put him in jail, and he was scheduled to sit in the electric chair, and some people saw he had some great attributes, so they got a hold of Charlie Luciano, and they said, "You think you ought to get this guy out of jail, because we think he'd be very advantageous to you for what you're doing." And so they got him another trial, and of course none of the witnesses appeared, and he was set free. But they never. And he grew in stature, and he was. Albert was a no-nonsense guy, and he lived by a code, and he believed in it, and he took care of business, and but he just didn't want to get in the drug business, and so they felt that that was against what they wanted people to do, and he kept fighting it, and so they assassinated him because they were afraid of him.
Wow.
And then they tried to kill Frank Costello, and they hit him. Gianconti took a shot at him and just grazed his head. His hand or something moved when he was trying to shoot him, I guess, and it didn't work. But it caused Frank to realize that they were serious. They were going to do what they were going to do. So he just retired. But I spent a lot of time with him, and I kind of liked him a lot, actually. He's a very smart man.
So when they retired, they were basically out of the business. They didn't continue to come after him.
They didn't go after him anymore. He just gave up a position, but he still helped a lot of people politically and stuff like that, until they got to a point where he couldn't do that anymore because they were making some people very angry about,
Wow.
That's great stories.
Wow.
Things changed. A lot of things changed. And,
yeah.
Well, there were a lot of change that happened and stuff. So.
In the movies, there's only one way to get out of the business.
Exactly. Right. Well, I don't know. There's an marital oath that you take if you're accepted into the family as a young person, and you take an oath, and if you stand by that oath, then you're involved. But a lot of people that were involved in years ago went legitimate.
but they still controlled the unions, and they still had powers of in a lot of ways that helped a lot of people. They did numbers in gambling, and gambling was always a big deal. And New York got into a lot of the drug business and stuff like that. Chicago actually went out and took over Vegas, and Mario Lansky was into gambling, and they had Cuba and some other islands and stuff like that, casinos and things, and they did quite well, actually.
Yeah. Now I don't know if y'all know this or not, but they are releasing The Godfather again on the big screen coming up soon.
Oh,
yeah. So we'll get a chance to go see it. I've got the collector series at the house. I love it. Watch it. But they're going to release it in the big screen.
Godfather was a great film, and so what we're doing is, I wrote a book, and I've got 2 more books coming out, and I've sat down with some dear friends of mine that we've all lived through a lot of this stuff, and some of these guys have, like good old boys, man. They've done 30 years in jail and 35 years in jail because they wouldn't talk.
Really?
They did their time and stuff. They lived under their oath, and but they're tired of the mockery that's been done and stuff. So we're going to tell the truth about a lot of things.
Jack, can you hang on just a second and catch us, and we'll come back on the other side and continue this conversation? Will that be okay?
Sure.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking to Jack O Halloran. We're going to take a quick break and come back on the other side, continue the interview. You're listening to Applebee's Tailgate Talk on WKAC, the Big 1080.
From day one, First National Bank has been built on a strong foundation of community first. First to lend a helping hand, first to help with community events and fundraisers, first to support local students, athletic programs, and civic organizations, first to support events like United Way, Relay for Life, and many more charitable events, and most importantly, working for our great community. Without you, there'd be no First National Bank. Making communities great together, that's what we strive for.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC. Daly & Son Car Care is Ardmore's only one-stop auto repair and tire shop. Whether it's major mechanic or brake work or routine maintenance like an oil change or lube job, Daly & Son Car Care has been satisfying customers all over with their fast and friendly service. They're also your headquarters for quality Cooper tires. Stop by and see Wayne, Nikki, or Dale at 25600 Main Street in Ardmore, Tennessee, or call them at 931-427-4651. They're on Facebook, too. Daly & Son Car Care, open Monday through Friday, 7:30 till 5, and Saturday, 7:30 till noon.
Limestone Drug, located on the square in downtown Athens, is your local Health Mart pharmacy. As your local Health Mart pharmacy, Limestone Drug is locally owned and has a personal commitment to the community. Limestone Drug honors prescription drug plans, including Medicare. They accept flex spending cards and fill prescriptions in minutes, not hours. Limestone Drug knows there's nothing more important than your family's well-being. So shop Limestone Drug at 200 West Market Street in Athens, your local Health Mart pharmacy. Limestone Drug, caring for you and about you.
Your roof is the first line of defense for your home. Do you have water stains on your ceiling, paint peeling off your walls, shingles missing? It's probably time for you to get your free roof inspection. Locally owned and operated, licensed, and insured, Yellowhammer Roofing is the Yellowhammer State Hometown Team. Yellowhammer Roofing. Let our family protect what's most important to you, your family. 256-232-1933 or online at yellowhammerroofing.com.
If your place on the water needs some attention, call BP Riverworks. Boathouses, docks, seawalls, and repairs. Call Baron Pugh at 251-200-2273 or Tracer Pugh at 256-206-7097. BP Riverworks. Licensed and insured, 251-200-2273 or 256-206-7097. We continue with our conversation on the best of Tailgate Talk on 1080 WKAC.
And welcome back to Applebee's Tailgate Talk, ladies and gentlemen. Tom McClung here, Old Tom Cat, alongside Tojo J. Vassar, producer extraordinaire Tim Lambert. And we're going to come back with our man Jack O Halloran here. Jack, let's talk a little bit about your boxing career. I was reading up that you were close to getting a match with Muhammad Ali.
Well, we were signed 4 different times. like I said, boxing was a day job, and they gave me a chance to travel, all over the place. And I never sat in one place. It's the reason why they could never capture me somewhere or something,
Right.
But I took fights on like 2 days' notice because I could fight, and I had a pretty good ability. And I went to San Diego on a week's notice and fought Norton and actually beat Norton down there, and they gave him a hometown decision. But I won the town and stayed there and became California heavyweight champion. And Ali was he and I were pretty good friends, and he called me on the phone one day and he said, you got to do me a favor. And I said, I'll do you a favor, sign a contract to fight me. And he said, we're going to do that. We're going to do that. He said, but I was fighting his brother, Rockman Ali. He said, you're fighting my brother, and I want you to get him out of boxing. And I said, get him, what are you talking about? I said, knock him out and get him out of fighting. Because he's not, he wasn't Ali, all right? And he was embarrassing him, so to speak. So I said, well, I better go in the gym a couple days. And I did. And I went and I knocked him out in the 9th round. They never fought again. And Ali and I had an understanding of an agreement. But Kenny Norton was owned by some very wealthy people from San Diego. And they went to Chicago to Herbert Muhammad. And they put a few $1 million on the table. And Kenny Norton wound up fighting Ali instead of me. And when he came out for the fight, he lost the first fight to Norton because he wasn't in the greatest shape, which was unusual for him. And he had a bad knuckle in his one hand, and he had a sprained ankle. He had a boot cast on. And
wow.
Anyway, but Norton got lucky. Norton got lucky and hit him with an overhand right, and he had a tooth taken out a week before the fight. And when Norton hit him right on the jaw by luck, he fractured the tooth next to it, and it was wrapped around his jawbone, and it broke his jaw.
Oh, wow.
But he went on it. He fought, the rest of the 10 rounds from the 4th round on with a broken jaw. And Freddie Pacheco wanted to stop the fight. And Ali said, you ain't stopping nothing. And he fought the 10 rounds, and I got him to the hospital afterwards, and he was, and we got him fixed stuff, and he was a great guy. I loved him a lot. He was in the hospital, and I was up. He said, you got to come up here. And I said, well, yeah, okay. So I went up to see him, and he had a heavy bag in his room. I said, what are you doing with that?
In the hospital.
He said, stick around. He said, watch what happens. And Norton came in, and Ali was arranging the fight to begin. And he said, they gave Norton a heavy bag. He said, you better take that bag home and practice. So we had, we went through a few hoops and stuff, and I stayed in California. And when I beat Henry Clark, who was a pretty good fighter for the state title, and then I went into the movie business. They came and offered me a picture. Farewell, My Lovely. I went and had the operation done to fix the tumor. Because when I was in San Diego, I got very close to this doctor down there, and he was a good guy, and he was the commissioned doctor. And he said to me one day, he said, if you don't go to Scripps and get a workup done, I'm taking your boxing license because this disease is going to kill you.
Oh, wow.
Man, I got it done, and he was right. The disease was rampant. And so I went to a place called Mass General, and they had a cyclotron proton machine that was like a laser that hit the. I was very lucky. I was one in 1,000 that it knocked the tumor out. Boom, first time out. Then your body had to adjust to it. So I retired from boxing, and they came to me to do Farewell, My Lovely with Robert Mitchum, and so I blamed my career on Robert Mitchum.
Oh, yeah.
He was like a father to me. He was a great individual. And, he took me under wing and told me a lot of things about the film industry. And it just, went from Farewell to one film after another. And Superman pictures made us iconic. But we did King Kong and done some pretty good films actually in my life.
Yeah,
tell us about.
We're getting ready to we're getting ready to do a miniseries on the books of my father's life and my life. Everybody's kind of excited about it. So
I bet.
Tell us about you, Richard Kiel getting Jaws in the James Bond movie instead of you.
Well, they came to me. They begged me to do that picture, and they flew over. They met me in L.A. My agent's office, and I was actually around the corner in a restaurant with Mitchum. It was his birthday, and I was getting them toasted. And I said, I got to go around the corner and meet these people from England. They come over here for me to do this Bond picture, and he said, "You read the script?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You like the part?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, tell them to go to hell." I said, "Well, I'd be courteous if I went around and said, look, I was kidding. I already signed to do a picture called March or Die with Gene Hackman and Catherine Deneuve and some other good people. And I went around and said hello to these people and and they said, "Well, we really want you to do this, blah, 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 blah." And I said, "Well, I'm already under contract to do a picture," and I could have gotten out of it and done the Bond pictures, but I really didn't want to get stuck in playing just some big dumb guy and stuff like that,
Yeah.
And I turned it down. And Richard Kiel, I turned down 6 pictures. Richard Kiel did them all and made his career.
Hey,
God bless him.
Hey.
So the Longest Yard movie.
Longest Yard, Bert came to me. He said, "We're doing this picture," but I was doing a movie somewhere, and I said, "Well, I just don't think I can." And I would have liked it. It was a pretty good script. I wouldn't mind doing that. It wasn't too bad. But again, it was just playing this kind of character that I was trying. And then the one picture that I turned down that I wish I had was Silver Streak.
Oh, okay.
With Gene Wilder.
Gene Wilder, yes.
And I was doing King Kong, and we had a break while they went to New York to shoot stuff in New York. We were free for several weeks in L.A. and it gave me a chance to go to the beach and pick up on my tan and stuff. And they wanted me to go up to Seattle and do this picture. Paramount came and they said, "Boy, we really love you to do this movie." And King Kong said, "We'll release him, but you have to have him back to finish King Kong." There were scenes that I had to do to finish that movie, and I should have went and done it. I'm sorry I didn't, because working with Pryor and Wilder would have been a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
But Richard Kiel did that, and he did. There was 6 movies altogether. God bless him, made his career. So. But I was doing it, and it worked out well, because when I was doing March or Die, we were offered the Superman movies.
Awesome.
And the Superman movies was a much better deal for me than the Bond movies.
So we talked earlier about The Godfather, but you actually worked with Brando in the Superman movies. Did you two interact? Did you get to talk to him or anything?
Oh, Marlon and I were great friends. Marlon was a New York guy, and he knew my father, and he knew who I was, and he couldn't wait to meet me.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Come on. Mitchum told me, said, "Go down, say hello to Brando, and tell him I said hello. He's on his way over there." And I went down to see him when he first came on the set, and he was surrounded by media people and stuff, and he saw me, and he just ran right through. And we started chatting. We became pretty good friends. I liked Marlon. Marlon was an incredible actor. I mean, he was just a neat person. He was different. Marlon was a hoot. I had a lot of fun with him. He was. I'll tell you a funny story. I went down on the set to watch him work one day, and he had cue cards all over the place. I mean, my God, but he did something I never saw another actor get away with. He was getting ready to do a shot, and the camera guy said, "Oops, got a very bad noise. We gotta fix the camera, and you gotta come back and do this again." And Brando said, like hell, he said, "I'm here now." So he turned around. He said, "Fix that camera and tell me when you got it fixed." So they adjusted something, and they said, okay, we're ready. He turned back into the shot, and he finished the shot.
Wow.
And I never saw anybody get away with that before. So then he came down off the set, and I asked him a question. I said, I guess a lot of people would be nervous asking this, but, here's the deal. What's with the cue card? Are you that bored with the industry that you got to have, oh, no. He said, I started that with Mutiny on the Bounty because I didn't want the camera to make it look like I had studied the script. I wanted to look like I was taking words out of the air. And I looked at him. I said, you're so full of it. And he laughed. He was a great Shakespearean actor. And he sat there and he ripped off a couple parables of Shakespeare word for word. And he said, that must know word for word. He said, this other stuff, piece of cake. He was but he had such a charisma. I mean, when Marlon walked on the set, you could hear a pin drop, and he was very professional. He said hello to everybody. And Mitchum was the same way. A lot of the older actors were like that. They never showed up late. They were always on time. They were very professional.
Tell us
so it was a pleasure working with Brandon. Brandon was he was a hoot. They only worked 11 days on the picture. He worked the first 11 days so they could get the money to, when they had the footage of him, they went to a bank, he got the money for the rest of Superman. So they needed to get him on film.
Wow.
And he went to dinner. They were working about 4 or 5 days, and they went to dinner with Peter Spangler and the Salkinds and all, and Richard Donner. And they got into a discussion about, the work day, and Marlon said, we're really working kind of hard here, guys. He said, maybe we should take a day off. And Richard Donner was saying, yeah, well, we can look at the schedule. And they're kicking Donner under the table because they needed to get all the footage on Brandon they could so they could get to the bank. And Salkind said, oh, no, Marlon, we can't afford to take a day off. And Marlon said, how much it costs production for the day? And they said, about $350,000. And Marlon looked at them and Pierce Spangler, and he said, take a day off, I'll pay.
That's great.
We all almost fell off the table, They had just paid him $4 million to work 11 days, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh,
and he was that kind of humor, though. Of course they didn't take the day off, but he was just that's the way he was. I liked him a lot. I liked Marlon quite a bit, actually.
That's great, Mr. Jack. We've wrapped up our time, my friend, and it's so good talking to you. I'm going to look up and find your books. I can't wait.
Yeah, you'll enjoy it. Family Legacy is pretty cool. It's quite a good story.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, where can we get the book? I'm sorry.
You go right to Amazon, or if you email me, I'll send you I'll send you a copy on email.
Okay, sounds good. We'll definitely find out what you're.
Email me. You got my email address?
I don't, but I've got a pencil that I can write down right now.
That's Movieland Properties, all one word. Movieland Properties with an S on the end of it at gmail.com.
Awesome.
At gmail.com. Is that properties? T-I-E-S?
Send me an email and I'll send you some stuff on the book. You'll like it.
That'd be great. Email will be coming. Thank you so much, Mr. Jack.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you.
My pleasure, guys. Y'all have a good time down there now. You hear me?
I hear you, brother. Y'all come back now.
Y'all come back and see us real soon now. You hear?
Yes, sir. We'll bring some pintos and cornbread. Thank you, buddy. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. You're listening to Applebee's Tailgate Talk on WKAC, the Big 1080.
Home security is not what it used to be. With Secure Connect and smart home integration features, you can unlock your doors and turn off your alarm from your smart home app. No more hiding a key under a rock. Get Secure Connect and live life connected. Call Ardmore Telephone Company at 800-830-9946 to secure your home today.
When things go wrong, State Farm is here to help life go right. And Agent Michael Howell is the one who can help get things back on track. See Michael for your auto, home, life, health, property, and business insurance, and be ready for those unexpected twists that life throws at you. Ask about banking and annuities, too. Call State Farm Agent Michael Howell at 232-5400. Visit him online at michaelhowell.net or go see him at 903 South Clinton Street in Athens. State Farm Agent Michael Howell. There when things go wrong, here to help life go right.
Bring a little caffeination inspiration to your next event with Travelin' Tom's Coffee of Athens. Turn up the heat in these cooler months with their signature products, including a full coffee menu, white chocolate mocha, lattes, frappes, energy drinks, lemonades, and teas. Travelin' Tom serves events of any size, concerts, neighborhood block parties, high school football games, you name it. Travelin' Tom's Coffee of Athens is sure to make any event a little sweeter. Visit Travelin' Tom's Coffee of Athens on Facebook or call them at 434-1734. Travelin' Tom's Coffee of Athens.
From day one, First National Bank has been built on a strong foundation of community first. First to lend a helping hand, first to help with community events and fundraisers, first to support local students, athletic programs, and civic organizations, first to support events like United Way, Relay for Life, and many more charitable events, and most importantly, working for our great community. Without you, there'd be no First National Bank. Making communities great together, that's what we strive for.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC. Listen this basketball season as WKAC brings you action from the Athens High Golden Eagles. Join us for play-by-exciting play of varsity girls and boys games on our sports stream at WKAC1080.com. Tune in to WKAC and hear the replay each Saturday at noon, and then check it out on our website on demand. Athens High Golden Eagles basketball this season online at WKAC1080.com and on the air at 1080 WKAC. Welcome back to the best of Tailgate Talk on 1080 WKAC.
We're so glad to welcome our special guest here today. He's now in Delaware coaching football, one of the greats in College Football Hall of Fame member and one of the greats at the University of Alabama, Mr. E.J. Jr. Coach, how you doing today?
I'm doing fine, gentlemen. How you doing?
Coach, just tell us what you're doing now and how you got to be the coach there in Delaware.
Well, I mean, basically, I was working with my son's high school for a period of time, and then got a call to work with the D-line at Delaware State. But I recently have left Delaware State. I'm back in Ohio, looking for another college opportunity somewhere. And my youngest son just committed to the University of Cincinnati to play ball, and then my other son, who graduated from Bowling Green and played football, Kyle Jr., basically is going to play at Saginaw Valley this fall because he had one more year of eligibility of playing. So it's kind of getting the chance to work with them a little bit just before they go into their season, so I can get prepared mentally to try to find a coaching gig somewhere.
Can I go my EJ Jr. story? EJ, my name's Clint Legg, and I was a high school coach until I made a bad decision to become a principal. But anyway, hey, here's my story about you, dude. I know, dude. Unbelievable. Hey, here's my story about you, man. When I was growing up here in Athens, if you guys remember, Athens State would host Alabama-Auburn basketball. Football guys that come up here and play basketball. Y'all remember that?
Oh, yes, I
remember that, EJ? You come
well.
up here to Athens State, played out there. Man, I got your autograph. If we would have had cell phones back in them days, I dang sure would have got my picture made with number 39 from the Crimson Tide. And when they said they had you on, the first thing that came to mind is my dad. I was so nervous because all you guys were there. It was Alabama versus Auburn in basketball. I can't believe y'all can't remember that. But I got out there and got my picture made with you, man, and followed you throughout your career there with the Cardinals and other things, man. And I'm glad you're still in it, still wanting to be around football, man. It's hard. It's like a great drug, hard to get out of your system, man. It's just something I love, and I know you do as well. And do you ever get a chance, EJ, to come back to some Bama games?
I have been only to one Alabama game in the past 7 years. And that's when they played Mississippi State. I was supposed to possibly have come back this year for a game. I've been invited for a couple of the reunions. You know, the 78 and 79 team had reunions, 50-year reunions. I mean, the reunions for the national championship teams. I wasn't able to make it to those because I was coaching ball, of course. Supposedly, probably we're supposed to come back for the College Football Hall of Fame recognition. Hopefully, I'll get back down there this year for that, and I'll make time to do that. But it's been quite an interesting year. And I understand that there's addiction to football because one of the things I've learned from Sylvester Croom and Ken Donahue and Jeff Rousey, Bill Oliver, the defensive coaches. Not to say I didn't learn from the offensive coaches at Alabama, but when I was at Alabama, I was basically a defensive guy, those guys is to be able to teach what I learned. And the game doesn't change. I mean, it's not always about the X's and the O's. It's about the Jimmy and Joes. But the fundamental of football never changes. Even though the game is a passing game now. I still believe in old-fashioned style football. You got to be able to run the ball, move the chains, and you adjust with what teams are doing to you. So, the new style of football that they're playing now, we got to come up with some defensive mechanisms to slow down the passing game. But the thing is, it's still about blocking and tackling.
Absolutely. EJ, speaking of, tell us a little bit about your recruitment to Alabama. Who recruited you? How'd that go? And what made you make the ultimate decision to come to Alabama?
That's interesting. The first person that ever called me was Coach Bryant. Yeah. Usually would have thought, my main recruiter was Coach Ken Donahue, God rest his soul, who I think is considered the greatest defensive coordinator that ever coached college football. But Coach Bryant called asking about my interest in Alabama. And at that time, I really was not interested in Alabama. It wasn't that I didn't like Alabama. It's just I remember being young, about 8 years old, watching Governor Wallace stand on the steps of Alabama and says that a black man will never walk on this campus. Mm-hmm. And I kind of took that to heart. Look young, not knowing. But when he called, my mother, who is a retired principal, answered the phone, and he wanted to speak to me. And my mother said, "It's Coach Paul Bear Bryant on the phone." And I'm like, "From Alabama?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I don't want to talk to that man." And my mother looked over her glasses. You know how those principals are. Y'all can look over your glasses and kind of talk between your teeth without moving your mouth. She said,
"Yes, sir.
You don't talk to this man." And I got on the phone, and Coach Bryant said, EJ, this is Coach Bear Bryant at the University of Alabama. I said, "Yes, sir." He says, "I know you've heard some good things about Alabama. I know you heard some bad things about Alabama." I said, "But I want to promise you two things." And I said, "What is that, Coach?" He says, "If you come to Alabama, you're going to get a great education." And I thought to myself, I'm like, well, I can get a good education anywhere. And then the second thing he says, "If you come to Alabama, I'm going to work your tail off." And that caught me so off guard because mostly everybody said, well, you can be an All-American. We can win national championships. Coach Bryant didn't talk about any of that. He just says, "I'm going to work your tail off." And I paused and I said, "Keep talking, Coach, because now you're challenging my work ethic." And the more we talked, he said, "Coach Donahue, come talk to me." And I talked to him a little bit. They brought me down for a visit. And when I came to Alabama, it was not a weekend of a game. I think it was the weekend between Alabama and Auburn. So it was an off week. There were no Bama Bells. There was no hoopla, nothing. I got a chance to see the campus the way it was, on a regular basis. I was my personal guide was Sylvester's brother, Kelvin Crum, was my guide the whole weekend. And I got a chance to see Alabama for what it was, but it was just something about being on that campus. I can still smell the paper mill in my mind. And since I'm supposed to be here, and I don't know why. And part of my recruiting thing, when I recruit kids now, I said there are three things you got to look at. You got to look at the academics, you got to look at the athletics, and you got to look at the social life. But even then, there was a fourth aspect, which I talk about now more so than I did back then because I didn't know about it, was the spiritual aspect. And I was purposed to be there. I could not explain it at the time when I was 17 years old, but now that I look back, sometimes you're purposed to be at a place. And that was my purpose. And, I had a lot of schools after me. And after it was all said and done, my brothers, my sister, my parents, we all had a vote on where I should go to school. And Alabama got 4 out of the 5 votes. My sister was the only one who voted for Morehouse and Georgia Tech on a dual degree program.
Awesome. Morehouse and Georgia Tech on a dual degree program. That's impressive as it is on its own. But EJ, this is Tom McClung here, and I'm the only Auburn fan in the room. But
I got a lot of friends from Auburn. We go back and forth. So I mean, I still talk to Byron Franklin and and some of those guys. So so I mean, I got a lot of friends that go to Auburn. So I have no flaws against Auburn until they play Alabama.
I'm just saying, I remember watching you on TV, my friend, and there were very few guys that, when you stuck them, that they didn't stay stuck. I'll put it that way. You were as bad as I disliked Alabama back then. I'm a kinder, gentler guy now, but back then, EJ Jr. when he went in for a tackle, they weren't missed and they were solid. And, I mean, even to a kid my age back then, it was very impressive.
Well, thank you. I tell you one thing, and I hold this against Auburn to this day.
The
first time, we were playing in Auburn my freshman year, and I it's a William Andrews story.
Ooh, okay.
We were playing. I'm a freshman. William was playing. He was a fullback.
Yes, sir.
And they ran a lead to my side. And William Andrews took me from the middle of the field all the way to the sideline, and he pancaked me.
Oh wow.
And for the rest of the game, I was trying to kill him. never got that chance to play to get him back because he was a senior and I was a freshman.
Right.
So now we go on to the NFL.
Uh-oh.
So now Williams is one of the best running backs in the country in the NFL, and I'm at the Cardinals, and we play in Atlanta, and we're playing cover 2, and this is when they had a pretty good offense, and I drop in my drop. They dumped the ball to William Andrews, and I go make the tackle. And I'm like, okay. If they run this play again, I'm gonna knock him and slap out. So we call the defense up later in the game, and I see the William linking out in that backfield. And the moment he turned, he touched it for a second, and I laid him out. The ball came loose, and I stood on myself. Now we even. Now he looks all dumbfounded because he has no idea what it's all about.
I remember that play.
So after the game, he comes out of the locker room, and I'm waiting for him. And he looks. He says, "What was that all about that you talking about?" I said, "I don't know if you remember this freshman when we played you all in Birmingham. You took me and you pancaked me on the sideline, and I never forgot it." And he said, "Oh, man, I didn't think you would even think about anything like that." So the next year, the Falcons come to St. Louis. He's coming out the locker room. I'm on the field warming up. And I says, "Are we even?" And he said, "Yeah, we're even."
That's good. Been holding that grudge for years.
I remember that play because there's also been one before you and him had before you cleaned his clock, is that they leaked him out of the backfield and a defensive cornerback or somebody came up and hit William, and the first thing he hit was that other guy's back on the ground, and William went like 80 yards for a touchdown after that. But then again, I remember when you, because I was waiting on that, here comes EJ Jr. Let's see what happens if William do the same thing, but he didn't. you got him there, Coach.
I tell you one thing, I was surprised. When Auburn had, you have Reese McCall at tight end. You got Byron Franklin at wide receiver.
Yes, sir.
Why did Auburn not ever run the wishbone? Because you had Andrews, Cribbs, and Brooks.
Yeah.
3 of the best backs in the – I'm like, if they ever ran the wishbone, they might have won the national championship because they were that good.
We could have used Coach Dye a few years earlier, just saying, because when Coach Dye got there, we ran it with both.
Awesome. Now, EJ, you played for Coach Stallings, right, in Phoenix?
Yeah, I was with him when he first came to St. Louis in 1986.
What was he? Can you compare him and Coach Bryant? Are they similar?
Oh, and I got some Coach Stallings stories. But first time, and I was one of the defensive captains. We had gone through a 5-11 season with Coach Hannaford, and they fired him. And so now they bring in Gene Stallings. And I got invited to meet with Coach Stallings early once he got hired. So I go to his office, and he's sitting in this chair, kind of looking at film. Back to the chair, is facing the door. So I'm not going to go to the door. I said, Coach Stallings, you want to see me? And he says, EJ, is that you? I said, yes, sir. He says, and he turns around and he said, what bothers you about this? I was like, this man sounds like he sounded like Coach Bryant.
Yeah.
So now I'm, so my heart was kind of like, Coach Bryant had already passed by that time. I'm like, why does this man sound like the old man? And, I said, and I really thought in my mind when I first met Gene Stallings, I said, is this Coach Bryant's son that nobody knows about? Because he sounded just alike. He has the same demeanor, the same thought process. And, it was a pleasure to play for Coach Stallings. I have a lot of admiration and respect for him. I've talked to him a couple of times in past years. I haven't talked to him recently, but, he loved his son, John Mark, and had a lot of respect for what he was trying to do with the program. It's just that we could never get over the top.
We'll be back with more of our Tailgate Talk conversation after this. Daly & Son Car Care is Ardmore's only one-stop auto repair and tire shop. Whether it's major mechanic or brake work or routine maintenance like an oil change or lube job, Daly & Son Car Care has been satisfying customers all over with their fast and friendly service. They're also your headquarters for quality Cooper tires. Stop by and see Wayne, Nikki, or Dale at 25600 Main Street in Ardmore, Tennessee, or call them at 931-427-4651. They're on Facebook, too. Daly & Son Car Care, open Monday through Friday, 7:30 till 5, and Saturday, 7:30 till noon. P4 Physical Therapy is a new outpatient provider offering community-based care with a unique partnership model that allows them to consistently deliver world-class outpatient care, emphasizing personalized hands-on treatment. Whether it's orthopedic, physical, geriatric, or manual therapy, sports or neuro rehab, telehealth, or most any type of muscle or joint pain, P4 Physical Therapy promises to treat you with integrity, compassion, faithfulness, and selflessness. Locations in Athens, Huntsville, and Winfield, Alabama, as well as Fayetteville and Knoxville, Tennessee. Look for them on Facebook or online at p4physicaltherapy.com.
Your roof is the first line of defense for your home. Do you have water stains on your ceiling, paint peeling off your walls, shingles missing? It's probably time for you to get your free roof inspection. Locally owned and operated, licensed, and insured, Yellowhammer Roofing is the Yellowhammer State hometown team. Yellowhammer Roofing. Let our family protect what's most important to you, your family. 256-232-1933 or online at yellowhammerroofing.com.
Now that you've got that new place on the water, BP Riverworks can finish the picture with a boathouse, dock, or seawall. Call Barron Pugh at 251-200-2273 or Tracer Pugh at 256-206-7097. BP Riverworks, licensed and insured, 251-200-2273 or 256-206-7097. Want to howl with the Havoc this season? Now's your chance from Tailgate Talk and the Huntsville Havoc. Just go to tailgatetalk.net and register your name. Then listen to Tailgate Talk Saturday mornings at 10 as we announce the weekly winners of Huntsville Havoc tickets. Howl with the Havoc this season from the Huntsville Havoc, Tailgate Talk, and 1080 WKAC. We're back now with more of our conversation on the best of Tailgate Talk. You were talking about defense a while ago. I mean, you were part of, if not the most iconic goal line stand in history, one of the top ones there against Penn State.
I mean, we had some great defense in that. I was telling my wife about this morning. When we look back, the difference between coaching high school, here in Ohio, each place is different. They have your freshman, you have a 7th grade team, an 8th grade team, a 9th grade team, then you play JV. And I says, when I was at Alabama, we didn't look at class. We looked at, now the legacy was the senior class. What did we do? And I said, our senior class was probably the worst out of the 4 years I was at Alabama because we lost 2 games. We lost 6-3 to Mississippi State, and we lost 7-0 to Notre Dame. That was despicable because the first year we lost one to we lost to Southern Cal. The second year we basically lost to. The first year we lost to Nebraska. Second year we lost to Southern Cal and won the national championship. Then the third year we go undefeated. But those teams, we had great defense. We were talking about giving up so many points, like 57 points in 1 year, 96 points another year. I mean, that was almost unheard of. When you look at what the teams are giving up now, I'm like, man, we must have been pretty decent. Because we didn't give up a lot of points. And even when you think about the losses that we had my senior year, losing 3 points, 7 points, you know, we won one. We beat Baylor 30-2. We beat Kentucky 45-0. I'm like, wow, you don't think about how many points that the team scored against when we played Tennessee. They didn't even cross the 50-yard line until the fourth quarter. So that we took a lot of pride in our defensive team because that's what, you know, what we always said, defenses win championships. Well, that fact holds true, but you got to have a quarterback now who can spin it.
Yes.
and throw the ball through the offense. But, you know, defenses, to me, are still the foundation of what wins championship. When you look at what won the Super Bowl this year for Tampa Bay, it was their defense, even though they had Tom Brady. That defense made a difference. I don't care how much you can throw the ball all over the place. You still got to be able to play good defense for them. And you know, that's a mark of Coach Saban's, you know, legacy. Now that he's, you know, surpassed Coach Bryant on the national championship. But he's a defensive-minded guy. You know, everybody wants to throw the ball all over the place, but defense still has to make plays to make a difference.
Yeah.
EJ,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Man, here's my question. I was reading through some things here. I see where you made a transition when you got to Alabama from linebacker to defensive end. I want to know, how did that conversation go as far as who called? Did Coach Bryant call you in and say, "Look, man, I know you're a great linebacker," or did he just? How'd that go from linebacker to DN?
Actually, that transition was kind of easy because when I first got to Alabama, I know they had like 6 All-Americans at linebacker, and I was never afraid of a challenge. But I got moved to tight end, I got moved to safety, I got moved to running back. Have played a little bit of running back. And when we lost to Nebraska, I remember it like it was yesterday. Coach Brown was so pissed because we lost to Iron Hill. That's when they had Rick Burns and Iron Hill. And they basically torched us on the outside. And that loss to them 35-28 in Nebraska. And Coach Brown came to that meeting the next week. He says, I can take 2 freshmen, put them at defensive end, and do better than what we did. And he took me, and he took John Morrow. And he said, I'm starting these 2 this weekend. And I'm like, what? The irony of that is John Morrow is from South Bend, Indiana, home of Notre Dame. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee, home of Vanderbilt. We played Vanderbilt that weekend. When I got my first start was against Vanderbilt. Now, the scary part is 2 guys that I played high school ball with were their running backs, Preston Brown and Frank Mordecai. And Frank Mordecai could run a 9.400. And Preston Brown could run a 9.200. Because I ran track with Preston. He was our main running back. And you talking about fast. I'm like, oh, if Preston gets outside of me, it's over. It was probably my worst game that I've ever graded. As a defensive end, it was a learning experience, but I got my opportunity to play defensive end, and that's where it stuck. So it was never a transition of awesome. You know, moving from linebacker to defensive end. As a freshman, I didn't even think I would even play my freshman year. Yeah. But Coach Bryant saw something in me. Well, I did try to knock Johnny Davis out in a drill and knock himself out. I think that got his attention than anything else. But
yes, sir.
He got me on the field, and the rest is history.
Yes, sir. That is awesome. Because EJ, as a coach, we don't live in an era no more. We got too many kids that are not sacrificing for the team. It's all about where they're going to play. And, I applaud dudes when I hear stories like that of guys that's successful like you are, college football Hall of Famer that's telling them, I didn't care where, what you're really saying is wherever Coach Bryant put me is where I was going to play. And that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's what you try. I try to instill that in my sons. Now I got two of them are defensive guys, and one of them is an offensive guy. And the offensive one was my namesake, EJ the Fourth, was determined to play running back. And he ended up being a pretty good, running back, linebacker. Now he could have possibly played in the NFL because he has the size, the speed. And he looked at me and said, "Dad, I wish I had played defense." I said, "You're the one who put yourself in the box." The youngest one, who's an up and coming freshman at the University of Cincinnati, has great speed. He looks like a greyhound, can run. He will knock you out. But the thing was, he started out as a running back, and he wanted to be a running back over. I said, "Son," "you're just as good of a defensive player as you are an offensive player." Well, going into his junior year, he had lost his the ability to play running back because another kid had stepped up his sophomore year, made all county and all city in that. So they moved him to defense, and he was kind of sulking about it. All he did was make all county, all city, all conference, second team all state.
Wow!
And turned around and did it again. So now they don't know if he's going to play outside linebacker, he could play inside linebacker, or even safety. He's that fast. So he learned sometimes you have to think outside the box. Don't put yourself in the box by playing one position. Be an athlete and play wherever you're getting the opportunity to play. Now, Kyle, on the other hand, he was kind of limited because Kyle was about 6'4", 295 pounds. He was going to be one of those guys to put his hands in the dirt. But he's a baller as well. So what I try to tell kids, don't put yourself in a box. When you feel like that's the only thing you can play, you limit your abilities to to help a team. And all I wanted to do was just play.
Well, AJ, we appreciate you joining us, man. We'll have to get you back on and get some more stories for sure. You have a blessed day.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Folks, you're listening to EJ Jr. there here on Applebee's Tailgate Talk. We'll be right back.
While others have come and gone, the Lions Den Gym has been roaring as a workout and exercise fixture in Athens, growing from its humble basement beginnings in 1981 to their current 10,000 square foot location at 212 Commercial Drive in Athens. The Lions Den offers 24/7 access to their ever-expanding equipment collection that includes treadmills and climbers, elliptical trainers, stationary bikes, loose weights and dumbbells, and over 45 different weight machines. Contact the Lions Den Gym about a membership today at 256-652-2627. Visit them online at lionsdengym.com or on Facebook. The Lions Den Gym, 256-652-2627.
For screen printing, sign printing, banners, logo design, and more, look no further than That Shirt Printing Place. Located at 709 North Jefferson Street in Athens. Call 256-444-1827. That Shirt Printing Place. Visit them online at thatshirtprintingplacellc.com. Look for them on Facebook too. That Shirt Printing Place. 256-444-1927. That Shirt Printing Place.
The Bama Zach Memorial Scholarship has been set up to honor the legacy of Bama Zach Green, a huge fan of the Crimson Tide, along with Limestone County sports. The scholarship will go each year to a male and female athlete from Limestone County. Checks should be made out to Bama Zach Memorial Scholarship and can be sent in care of Garth Garris, 13833 Pinnacle Drive, Athens, Alabama, 35613. Donations can also be made in person at First State Bank of the South at 1319 Highway 72 East in Athens. Thank you for showing your support for local athletes by giving to the Bama Zach Memorial Scholarship. Come see all your friends at Applebee's in Athens. 12 minutes guaranteed or it's free Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. 7 items to choose from. Can't make it for lunch? Visit them for happy hour, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. or late night. Half-price appetizers with beverage purchase, 6 appetizers to choose from. Call 233-4430 or order online at applebees.com and pick your meal up with Carside to Go. Applebee's Neighborhood Grill, Highway 72 in Athens, just off I-65. Eating good in the neighborhood. Keep up with local school, travel, youth, and amateur sports throughout the week with the Play Action Sports Update. Listen weekday mornings at 7:30 and weekday afternoons at 1:30 and 3:30 as we bring you the latest scores, news, and announcements from Limestone County and surrounding communities. That's the Play Action Sports Update 3 times a day, Monday through Friday on 1080 WKAC. You're listening to the best of Tailgate Talk on 1080 WKAC.
Ladies and gentlemen, on the hotline, welcome to Applebee's Tailgate Talk, Mr. Kevin McLeod, one of my favorite Auburn players back in the day. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing well. How are you?
My goodness, man, it's good talking to you. We're doing great here. Forgive my cohorts here. I'm surrounded by a bunch of Bama fans, so
Bro, that's right.
You liable to hear a dirty word like a roll tide or something come out. But
okay,
talk a little bit back in the day. We've had Willie Gaucher, one of your teammates, has actually been online with us here before last year, and man, I tell you, back in the '90s, you playing with Damian Craig, and those were some pretty decent football teams.
Yes, it was. Some pretty fond memories. Some of those games, I just can't believe so much time has went by. But definitely memories that I'll cherish for a lifetime.
Now, were you in the game with? I think it's the Army game. If I'm not mistaken, it was Fred Beasley was grabbed inappropriately by an Army defensive linebacker. Is my memories wrong, or is that correct? Do you remember that?
To be honest with you, I don't really remember that, but I wouldn't doubt it. Guys find all kind of ways to throw your game off, and sometimes they'll use tactics such as that. So it wasn't just the Army. Other teams have done that in the past, so I wouldn't doubt it.
You wouldn't doubt it. I just remember Fred coming out of the pile, and he was always he was ready. He's the guy that goes back to the huddle and gets ready to come back again. But he come out swinging that. That's, man, what in the world happened? Then they showed the slow motion replay, and I'm like, that's what happened. So, but what's some of your best memories from being down on the plains? And we'll talk about your professional career in just a little bit.
Okay. Oh man, just the fans. Of course, the games were great. Totally enjoyed it, but the most lasting memories I will have are the fans and the passion that just the whole city of Auburn and the whole state of Alabama had about football. I don't think I've ever experienced anything like it. Even when I moved on to the next level in the NFL, it was never like college. You had some diehard, professional football fans, but the experience that I had with the fans in college is no comparison, man. It was just truly an amazing, period. And that, for me, I think is the most memorable experience I had during my tenure at Auburn.
That you, from 92 to 96, is that correct, your playing time?
94 to 98.
94 to 98. Oh, okay. Okay, so you got to experience the Coach Tuberville a little bit.
Actually, I didn't.
You didn't? Okay. I'm trying to.
Yeah.
My memory goes, buddy. I'm sorry.
I think he came in 99, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was already with Tampa at the time. So
that's good. I remember you playing, and I likened your style of running to another former Auburn great, Tony Richardson. You two. Yeah, you two ran a lot alike. I remember seeing the similarities.
Yeah, we definitely had some, similar abilities. He's, what can I say, man? Probably one of the all-time greatest fullback that has ever, played at Auburn. Guy played 17 years in the NFL.
He did. Played a long time with Kansas City Chiefs.
To be compared to him is definitely an honor, so I appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely. Well, tell us, talk a little bit. You were drafted by Jacksonville Jaguars, is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. Talk a little bit about your pro career, and then we'll get to your book here in just a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, so got drafted to the Jacksonville Jaguars in 1998, and for whatever reason, man, the NFL can be so finicky. They'll draft you, and sometimes you may not be the correct fit for their system. And I think I just fell into a situation where I just felt that Coughlin didn't really sort of buy into my abilities per se. And the offense that they ran was more of a tight end oriented type of offense, you know. And they weren't four wides a lot, two tight ends a lot, and you know, I don't know. It was just a strange period. But to make a long story short, I was released during training camp and well, after training camp, I'm sorry. And Tampa picked me up and I was on the practice squad for a while, then made the team the next year.
Well, Kevin, I'm sitting here looking at your book, Lessons of the Game, and I'll read some of the reviews. Wow, a very awesome book that every player needs to read. I wish someone wrote a book like this when I was playing. Good job, Kev. That's for Rabi Abdullah from Tampa Bay and Willie Whitehead. Right. Kevin paints a very true-to-life, in-depth picture of what a football player, the experience from youth ball to the pros. And then we talked about him a little while ago, Fred Beasley. Pretty good book, Debo, a.k.a. Kevin McLeod. Very accurate information. You should do well. Players old and young should read the book. Talk a little bit about your book and your I forgot the word. Tell us your book and your inspirations. That's the word I'm looking for.
Okay. No problem. Yeah, so the book, you know, my let me start off by saying this. My career was just strange. You know, I didn't live up to the expectations. You know, my dream was to play 15 years, and obviously that wasn't so. When I got in the league, immediately I faced adversities, and you know, of course, I was released from the Jaguars, and Tampa picked me up, and then I started to gain momentum when I was at Tampa. Okay, and made the team the next year, and things were going great. You know, by the later part of the season, I start getting playing time. And so things were just really, really turning around and looking bright. And then the next year, I had a health situation. And I was misdiagnosed with this issue with my heart. And the team sort of freaked out, and I basically was put on non-injured reserve and went to some specialists and found out that it wasn't, you know, that serious. It was just a minor little deal that I was born with, but I got cleared. But after that, it was so hard for me to make it back in the league because teams sort of was nervous about that whole situation. And so, you know, signed with this team, released. Teams would not really take me seriously because I think that whole, like I said, that whole issue with the heart sort of was in the back of a lot of teams' minds. But to make a long story short, it took me 2 years after that to actually make a team. I made the 53 with the Browns, and even after a while, you know, I ended up getting released with them, and it was just so strange. You know, it didn't matter how well. And I've had some training camps where I was just absolutely dominant. You know, I've never had. Well, I take that back. When I was with Jacksonville, I had a okay training camp, but all the training camps that I ever had in the NFL, I absolutely dominated and still got the short end of the stick. Yeah. So, with all that said, all that experience of not making the teams and going from this team to that team and going through all the adversities that I faced, I compiled it all in a unique manual. And I just talk about a little bit of my personal trials and tribulations that happened, along with things that I've seen other players experience. And I sort of break a lot of things down from a psychological perspective as well, as far as some of the behaviors. But it's a unique manual that I think younger aspiring players can really learn from. You know, I put some really valuable information in there, and a lot of the pitfalls that they need to avoid. I talk about that, as well as the things that I think they need to prepare themselves for mentally and physically. I also put in the book. So it's an all-around, very unique and interesting, manual. And, it took me about a year to write. And like I said, I think the younger guys are going to really be able to benefit from it.
Well, now you're talking about your book coming at it from a psychological point of view. I think you were a psychology major in college, weren't you?
That's exactly. I received my bachelor's in psychology.
It's amazing what we can learn if we start looking at things, brother.
He needs to analyze some of us, mate.
Especially these 3 Bama fans. We got to analyze those cats. Kevin,
yeah, I mean,
go ahead.
Football players were unique. We're unique people, and that part of the book is really for the parents, or the girlfriends or whoever that really doesn't understand the game. I dive deep into that area of it because, as football players, you have to create this alter ego in a sense. I mean, on the field, it's war. Some of the guys that I played against, you would think they're the biggest jerks on the field, but off the field, some of these guys are the nicest guys you will ever meet. But once they're on that field, they're monsters. And that's the whole psychological part of it, where you literally have to transform your mind and prepare yourself for battle in a sense, and some of these behaviors that some players experience on and off the field, I sort of give my theories as to why, some people, have these behaviors or why certain situations can come about from this whole mental conditioning, for lack of a better word.
Yep.
And so that part of it I thought was very important that people sort of understand, the mental aspects of how it is to be a ball player.
Bo Jackson's quote is one of my favorites. It said, "Football is easy if you're crazy as heck." So,
yeah, exactly.
Kevin, thank you so much for your time today, sir. And we want to encourage everybody to go to Amazon and find Kevin McLeod's book.
Actually, I would prefer if everyone went to the website.
There you go.
There we
you go.
There's my mistake for the day. Give us the website, my friend.
You can purchase the book directly from the website. It's www.lessonsofthegamefootball.com. And just go to buy the book, and you're able to purchase it directly from my website. I would appreciate everybody could go that route rather than Amazon, because Amazon, they are really just charging so much.
There you go.
Well, all right, we'll do that. That's www.lessonsofthegamefootball.com by Kevin McLeod.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
All righty.
That was Kevin McLeod. You've been listening to Applebee's Tailgate Talk.
Are you getting the propane service you deserve? At Ferguson LP Gas in Ardmore, you always get the most value for your dollar, professional gas personnel who make safety a high priority, and you can always get in touch with them any day of the year at any time. They accept Visa and MasterCard too. So if you're not happy with your present propane supplier, join the many who have made the switch. Give Ferguson LP Gas in Ardmore a call at 256-423-3320. While others have come and gone, the Lion's Den Gym has been roaring as a workout and exercise fixture in Athens, growing from its humble basement beginnings in 1981 to their current 10,000 square foot location at 212 Commercial Drive in Athens. The Lion's Den offers 24/7 access to their ever-expanding equipment collection that includes treadmills and climbers, elliptical trainers, stationary bikes, loose weights and dumbbells, and over 45 different weight machines. Contact the Lion's Den Gym about a membership today at 256-652-2627. Visit them online at lionsdengym.com or on Facebook. The Lions Den Gym, 256-652-2627. If your place on the water needs some attention, call BP Riverworks. Boathouses, docks, seawalls, and repairs. Call Baron Pugh at 251-200-2273 or Tracer Pugh at 256-206-7097. BP Riverworks. Licensed and insured 251-200-2273 or 256-206-7097.
Home security is not what it used to be. With Secure Connect and smart home integration features, you can unlock your doors and turn off your alarm from your smart home app. No more hiding a key under a rock. Get Secure Connect and live life connected. Call Ardmore Telephone Company at 800-830-9946 to secure your home today.
Now on a platform near you, the only year-round weekly podcast covering the Huntsville Havoc, the Wreakin' Havoc Podcast. News, interviews, and more. Dropping every Thursday, we'll just reek of the Huntsville Havoc. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and listen, follow, and subscribe on your favorite platform via the PAS Plus app and online at wreakinhavoc.com.
He's got a push. Back up three. And he got it! Three-pointer at the buzzer to win it! Unbelievable!
Join Play Action Sports for another season of Calhoun basketball. You can hear live action from men's and women's teams streamed on the PAS Plus app on your Alexa device by saying Open PAS Plus or online at pasplus.net. Check out the online archives on the website or on your favorite podcast platform too. And listen for select games on Sundays at noon on WKAC Radio. Calhoun basketball from PAS Plus.
You're listening to the best of Tailgate Talk on 1080 WKAC. You've been listening to the best of Tailgate Talk. You can hear the archive of this and other shows online at tailgatetalk.net. Join us next Saturday at 10 a.m. Applebee's Tailgate Talk is a production of Play Action Sports on 1080 WKAC.